So hello and welcome to today's episode of one fact about every single thing in Bully. Today's episode we're going to be focusing on one fact about every single class. So before we go over every individual class, did you know every single class in Bully was going to have two themes? A normal theme, which is what we hear in the final game, and a bit of a sped up kind of theme when the timer on the classes were running down. So let's jump straight into every single class, starting with chemistry. Now the original location of chemistry class was in a completely different location, likely on the second floor of the academy from when it had 3 floors. As identified by unused quotes from Miss Danvers showing Jimmy around the school in the mission "This is your school."
This building, art and photography is on the top floor. Your chemistry and biology classes are on this floor. You're in
In the Japanese version of Bully, which basically means the PS2 and Xbox versions, or even just setting your language to Japanese on Bully Anniversary Edition, you can actually make English class insanely easy. Since the Japanese version of English only requires you to put in about 2 or 3 words and the class is completed. If you beat Art Class 5 before you even beat Chapter 2, you can kiss girls from any clique without beating their respective missions to make them like Jimmy. So by that I mean you can technically beat Art Class 5 in Chapter 1 and have Mandy liking Jimmy without beating the mission Discretion Assured. It's completely impossible to fail a specific kind of gym class. Because gym has 2 classes, one being wrestling and the other one being dodgeball, it is actually completely impossible to fail a wrestling class, because Fatty never hits back, so it's impossible to get knocked out here. And while leaving the mat does only cause you to respawn there, and there are no time limit for these classes whatsoever, which really do make these the only classes that you technically cannot fail whatsoever. 2 out of the 5 bikes that are unlocked in shop class are only seen when Jimmy beats said class, and never appearing at all outside in free mode normally. These being shop class 3 bike, which is gone forever once Jimmy beats shop class 4, and the red BMX, which is only seen in Jimmy's garage and never seen all in free mode being rode around by other NPCs. The shop class 4 BMX is the only one that makes a very rare appearance in free mode during Bullworth Town and Old Bull Fail. The shop class 4 BMX does spawn in free mode, but it's very rare to see, and it only appears in Bullworth Town and Old Bull Fail. If Jimmy completes photography class 2 before completing chapter 3, then photography class 3 will not become available until Jimmy is in chapter 3. This is because photography class 3 requires Jimmy to visit New Coventry, which he is unable to do so legitimately until Darby Harrington is beaten. Despite geography class being about, well, geography, there are a hell of a lot of map errors. Now this one's going to be the longest because I play a hell of a lot of Hearts of Iron 4 Millennium Dawn, so in geography class 1 you have a map of Europe. Now if you look to the right you'll see Russia. Now beneath Russia should be Kazakhstan. However, the map borders seem to be completely different, by having a completely different country between Russia and Kazakhstan. Likewise, there is no Caspian Sea either, or it is, but it's not coloured as the sea for whatever reason, and the borders are completely different. Likewise, the borders of Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan are also completely different. Another bit of an oversight is Yugoslavia is still present here, although to be fair on this one, by the time Bully was released, Montenegro was a fresh independent nation, so I guess you could give that one a bit of a pass. But the map errors do not end here. In Geography Class 3, Russia actually appears to be split up into multiple countries. Mongolia is pretty much wedged between Russia and China. Although in Bully, Mongolia appears to be neighbouring 3 or 4 countries to its north depending on how you see the colours. Something the New Order, Last Days of Europe reference I guess. It also appears that Qatar and Bahrain don't actually exist here. In Geography Class 4 there's an entire country that is immersed in southern Pakistan. This one might be advocating for Balochistan independence. And in Geography Class 5, if you look at Mexico, there's another breakaway country located towards its north. I have no idea how Rockstar fucked up the world map this badly. Anyway, if you play Biology Class in multiplayer mode, there is a small chance you might get to dissect an alien, which confirms aliens may exist in the world of Bully. But it also may not, because this takes place in multiplayer only, and may not be canonical at all. Now Math Class has a completely unused track, which actually sounds rather depressing. Take a listen. This was probably scrapped because it really doesn't sound like it fits the Bully vibe at all, does it really? It sounds so depressing. And finally, after beating Music Class 3, Jimmy unlocks the Music Pyjamas, and if you're a fan of Michael Jackson, the t-shirt Jimmy unlocks might look familiar because it bears a shockingly strong resemblance to the same shirt that Michael Jackson himself wore during the music video to Beat It. Which is also interesting because the beginning of the Preppies theme sounds rather similar to Billie Jean. And that is one fact about every single class in Bully. It's probably the shortest episode I've done out of the series so far, but not much to really talk about with classes, I guess, because there's only so few. But thank you for watching today's video, I hope you enjoyed, and hope to see you all at the next one.